We want to say happy holidays to everyone. I hope everybody had a good time. Last year was a good year for transit, and I want to thank you all for putting out an effort that really showed to the people that we're trying to get better. I do want to turn my seat around though and say that if I'm a rider, from a rider's perspective, all I want to know is, are you going to get me to my destination on time? And so we got to really improve that this year, okay? Work hard. I want to thank everybody. We're going to do an invocation. I guess I'm going to have to do it. I want to thank the Lord for all the blessings that He's given us this year. We've really done some amazing things. Everything has to keep moving in the right direction, and I'm hoping that our staff and our people come together and willingly help transit move to another level. With that, I want to say thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to move to public comment.
Hi. Chair Smith, we have Ms. Rose Bradford. And Ms. Bradford, would you please acknowledge that you have received and read a copy of the Board of Directors policy on public comments?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rose Bradford, and I have a couple of concerns that I have a couple of concerns. I have had several issues within this last 3 weeks within Max Transportation System. I'm very disappointed within the system and how the system is being run by the drivers. I happen to be out at 6 o'clock in the morning, between 6 o'clock and 6:15 to catch the bus 45, that early in the morning, so that I can make it to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. So as I'm walking up towards the bus stop, I see the bus, I turn around and I wave to the bus driver so she can acknowledge me and stop. So she stopped for the lady who was at the booth. She sat there for a minute and she proceeded to take off. She didn't give me enough time to get there, even though I waved at her, to stop, so I got her attention. So I was late for work. Okay, on the second situation, I was outside at 5:30 in the morning waiting on the bus 45 coming in to go downtown so that I can go to work. Well, when I spoke with one of the customer service, they told me the bus was going to be there at a certain time, but later on I found out that that bus that was supposed to be there went a different direction, going another way. So I was late for work. Not was I only late for work, I was given incorrect information. I believe it was the Saturday before Christmas. I was outside waiting to catch the 6:18 bus again. Well, come to find out, they didn't have a driver for that bus, nor were the information put on the website so that we can check to see if there was going to be a driver or not. We was left out there in the cold till 7:35 until the next bus came along. It was cold that night. That morning. It was between 10 and 12 degrees outside. No one should have to stand outside and wait on the bus and then the bus do not come. We depend on Max Transportation so that we can get back and forth to work. We have families that we have to provide for. as well as you have families that you have to provide for. So when we depend on you and you don't come through for us, that leaves us out in the cold. Not only that it not leave us out in the cold, we're not guaranteed we're gonna have a job. And that job that I just started, I no longer have that job because the system is not dependable. It's not dependable at all. And it's upsetting and it's disappointing because a system this size should be in line with the Word of God. When you're in line with the Word of God, He's gonna make sure that the system is operated or being operated the way it's supposed to be operated, and we won't have any discrepancies. So where there's discrepancies, there is confusion, you know? So it's not okay that we are being treated this way. I'm not the only one, there's other people as well. And that's not okay that we're being treated that way. You know, we want the same thing that you guys want. We want everybody to be in compliance. And everybody is not gonna be in compliance. You even have supervisors that are very disrespectful and very rude. And I'm gonna call one of them by the name, and his name is Vincent. And I think that a man that received a supervisor position, who was a bus driver that received a position as a supervisor, he has no respect for himself, so therefore he's not gonna have respect for me or anybody else. I have had to try to talk with him on one occasion, and as I'm trying to talk to him, he's walking on. No, you're not gonna disrespect me like that for the simple fact that I am a child of God, and I'm gonna treat you the same way I want you to treat me. So when you have supervisors like that treat us or belittle us as if we're nobody, that's not okay, because we're the one that's supplying his paycheck. And for what I understand, he have had many written ups, and his own supervisor has not done anything. So there's issues within this system that needs to be fixed. And the drivers, you know, I have noticed drivers on their phones. I have noticed a driver, how she mistreated a man that was in a wheelchair. That is not okay. It's not okay because it's not his fault that he's in that wheelchair. And even if it is his fault that he's in that wheelchair, that does not give her the right to disrespect him the way she did. Because she's trying to, her own words, I'm trying to get to the bus station so I can have a lunch break. So you're gonna speed down the street, you're not gonna strap this passenger in the way he needs to be strapped in just because you're trying to get to max so you can get a lunch break? So these are issues that is going on within this corporation, and maybe a lot of people don't want to come out and speak, or maybe they have came out and speak, and you guys are not really registering to them what they're trying to say, or maybe they're not on the same platform you are on, or maybe because they are low poverty, or whatever the case may be. You have to treat people the way that God treats you. And everything starts with God.
Let me move in and say, Trey, we need to get some information from the young lady. See what we can help her. What route was that with you?
Well, 45 is a very, very busy route. I mean, you have a lot of people on that route. And you can't just have one bus on that route. You have to have at least 2 or 3 because the route is so far out. And a lot of people depend on that bus. And when you don't come through for us, it's a huge disappointment. And it's not okay, because it's like, we feel as if you don't care enough about us to make sure that we need to get to point A to point B. A lot of the people that catches the bus, their driver's license are suspended, or they don't have a car, or there's a lot of other things that are going on in their life, or there's one car and the wife has to take it, or the husband has to take the bus, however it may be. That is a dependable route.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's not a dependable route, but it needs to be.
You know, we usually go in 5 minutes, but we don't want to take up everybody else's time.
Yeah.
But Trey right there, he's going to take down all the information, and we're going to see if we can help.
Okay.
See him right there? All right.
I I appreciate it.
All right. Is there
And I
any more
just-
public? Go
What,
ahead.
what was that?
I was trying to see if there's any more public comments.
No, sir. Okay, I just hope that you guys look at it from our point of view and some dramatic changes be taken into contact. And one more thing before I walk away. I understand that you have a new director, someone that's over the bus system. Anytime, and I'm not here to belittle anybody, and I'm not here to disrespect anybody. That is not my character. Anytime you take on a position as this magnitude, you have to put your boots on, and you have to get on the ground, and you have to walk in with the bus, with the people. You have to know what's going on at all times. That's the only way you're gonna be able to fix it. You cannot fix it being inside this building. You have to be on.
Let me stop
Right.
you, let me stop you, but I don't think you know the director did. But we go on from there.
Well, I'm just making a comment.
Okay.
And I hope you take that comment into contact.
Yeah. you do.
Thank you.
We also have, city council from the city of Birmingham here. I don't know if you want to make any speech or not.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I just want to say, I just dropped in today, didn't have any specific comments that I wanted to bring. It's really just out of respect for you all, because as chair of the transportation committee for the city council, whenever I have asked you all to come and participate in our meetings, there's been no hesitation, and there's been a free, open flow of information between City Hall and BJCTA, and I feel like the relationship is better than it's ever been. And you know, I'm not the only one who's seen that. I was recently in a meeting with Mayor Woodfin. He remarked on the board's professionalism in particular, and that is something that if you have been in the trenches and followed this relationship over the years, you know how remarkable that statement is. Again, you know, I'm here just to pass along those comments and out of respect for you all and thankfulness that we do have that type of relationship. One thing that I'm communicating to my constituents and people across the metro area is that this is a period of dramatic change for public transportation in our metro area. I don't think anyone can deny the fact that public transportation, even though it's not where we want it to be currently, has dramatically improved over the last few years. No one can deny that, and if they do want to deny it, I will argue it vigorously. But you know, with that, we acknowledge that there's much left to do, and that we want to continue to see that improvement happen. And I think it's possible. I think all of the folks who are in the decision-making positions are open to that conversation and are willing to, you know, lend their voices to the task. And I look forward to working with y'all to help make that happen. You know, to all of the riders, please know that, you know, these individuals here are working to make improvements. I think you you know, again, we've seen that happen over the last few years. There are many things, you know, yet to be seen that are in the works. And so I feel confident that we will continue to see improvements and look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here you go. With that, there's no more public comments. We'll move on to the chairman's report. I think my analysis earlier, you can see that we still have some issues that we have to handle. I know that you all are working hard to improve that. I can see it. I mean, it's night and day around here. But I want you to see the riders that we depend on. That's the reason why we're here. If they don't have a pleasant ride to their destination, it comes and reflects back on all of us. So we really have to push this system as hard as we can and try to get others involved to help us move this organization to where it needs to be. Now, I know Ms. Shaw is looking at microtransit and VIA and a couple other things to support our system. And at some point, we're going to have to really look at some route changes and things like that. We have 3 hubs now instead of 1. So we got to start moving that process into a point where we are moving people as fast as we can. With that, I'm going to go ahead and let TCAP come up.
Good afternoon. To the Executive Director of MAX and MAX Board and the public. I'm Alice Westry. Thank you, John. I'm Alice Westry. I'm the Vice President for TCAP. Our president is out today with a slight illness, but he allowed John Northrup and myself to be able to come and report out this morning. We've got some very important issues that we would like to talk to you about, but we'd like to let you know that we will be coming back to Central Station and actually talking and listening to the riders, because their voice, as we see and know, does count, and we can only help a population that we serve by making sure that we hear what those needs are. And they are the best ones to do that. John is going to talk to you about I would say, a coalition, a revolution to a conflict and a concern of making sure that the information gets out concerning public transportation and the need for the quality of, and also even looking at being able to fund quality transportation, because we know funding is very important in order to make sure that we do have the routes that are necessary for the quality that each and every individual deserves. And TCAP, a lot of times people may not understand our role, but I just wanted to just let you all know what our role is. TCAP is an organization that is a voluntary committee comprised of riders, former transit employees, and community advocates that work in partnership with the Birmingham-Jefferson County Transit Authority. To improve public transportation, we review transit system planning, organizations, and programs from the community's perspective and make recommendations to BJCTA. Now I'd like to allow John Northrup and also Marva Douglas to just give you some information about an agenda that we have for today that is of the utmost importance.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for giving us some time today. TCAB members reached the conclusion some time ago that one of the big problems that we have with transit, not just in Birmingham, but Alabama, is funding. And we note that Alabama is one of the 4 states in this country that has provided and does provide no state level funding for transit systems, one of 4. And we do note with gratitude that in 2018, the legislature created a fund, an account called the Public Transit Trust Fund, that would be used to spread transit and to support transit statewide. Unfortunately, the legislature has not seen fit from 2018 on to put any money in that fund. And so what we've decided to do, we're working with transit advocates, riders across the state to create what we're calling the Action Coalition for Transit in Alabama. And the concept is to build a vocal advocacy corps across the state to make direct appeals to every legislator in the state of Alabama to put some foundational money into that trust fund and allow it to function according to the law that set it up to get started the process of building up state resources for transit. Now, you've got a copy of my script here, and I want to acknowledge, first of all, I understand that you can't really respond to us the way we wanted to today because you don't have a quorum. You can't actually take action. But hopefully, we'll plant the seed here, and very obviously, I suppose, we're glad to come back anytime to talk with you folks, anyone, about this process. But let me tell you what we want to do. First of all, let me tell you that my calendar rolled into a new year this year, but somehow I stayed in December. So if you correct on your sheet there, that's January 4th, 2023. That's just an oversight of my part. So what we hope the Transit Authority will do as soon as you can is to endorse the ACT initiative. And we'd like to have your emails, your personal emails, so that we can put you on our mailing list. And as news develops in this campaign, and as opportunities arise for action, we want you to be able to get direct notice of those. Secondly, we hope that as individual members, you'll be willing to contact your legislators, wherever you're from in the community, and ask them to support state transit funding in the 2023 legislative session. Third, we hope that as individuals and as a group, please contact other transit sympathetic leaders, such as Mr. Oakman. And we'll come see you too, Darrell. And urge them to get involved in this effort. We're looking for the maximum number of organizational endorsements and the maximum number of individual active people, advocates, who will be willing to, probably more than once. It's going to, I think one phone call to a legislator ain't going to do that. But be willing in a campaign to kind of keep the heat on, well, keep the light on. Keep the light on the need for transit and help legislators understand that and help them do the right thing. And finally, we hope that you would ask Michelle if she would get in touch with the Transportation Association of Alabama, which maybe folks don't know, is largely a group of transit officials, staff, who have banded together for some time now. And we would like to get them engaged in advocacy for this funding. We've made the ask, but we're not yet making the connection. And it might well be that staff leadership from the Transit Authority here would provide the impetus for all these other folks around the state to get engaged. So I think that's it, unless anybody wants to add anything.
I just can't. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Marva Douglas. I'm a former school teacher. I have been fighting for mass transit for several years, but I'd like to pinpoint two very important things. I'm a retired person. I've been retired more than 30 years. I don't want to go into the poorhouse keeping up with my car. But that's, when I first started dealing with transit, that was not my reason. But since I'm older, the one thing I want to remind you that we have a good group of retired people who would love to have access to do volunteer things that can enhance our community. The one thing that vexes me more than anything else is the fact that we hurt our children. I don't care how smart your kid is, if they don't have volunteer services in high school, they cannot make the honor roll or get the best scholarships. Now, how do they get to volunteer when their parents are at work? Good bus service means that they will have access to learn their city, to visit all the amenities in the city, and these things help to grow them into productive adults. Not having good transit affects our lives. I mean, really affects our lives. I'm 84 years old this May 31st. I don't want to keep driving. I don't go out at night, but I'd like to be out in the daytime. I can get on a bus, and I used to be able to do it. I would walk from my house to the cemetery on West Mississippi Highway because the number 45 bus is my bus. I'd ride the bus downtown, go to the peanut depot, get my peanuts, go walk to the library, get my books, and go back home. So the exercise, just walking to get to the bus was just the most delightful thing. And I beat the president this morning walking over here because I did not want him to slow me down as I walked from the other side of the transit building to here and came up the stairs for the exercise. I like being healthy, but then of course I'm making it too much about me. But please think about older people and think about our children. They need us to help them to be successful. Transit would make them most successful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more thing, for the people in the audience and for the members, we have cards like you have there. And we can provide you a stack of these cards to hand out to people that you know. It gives contact information on how folks can sign up to be on our mailing list, where to go on Facebook. We have a website coming online, I hope by the end of the month. But at any rate, if anybody wants a card or a stack of cards, would be glad to hand these out today.
I have 1,000 of them right here.
Thank you for your attention.
I just wanted you to know I love the 84-year-old story. It's nice. Appreciate you. All right, we have the executive director's report.
All right, good morning, or good afternoon. And so, we have a lot that we're planning for this new year. We are in quarter 2 of our fiscal year. And I must say, it's always disheartening when I do hear people come in and make public comments about the staff not being out in the public, on public transit. Even the executive director, just so those are in the room, that you know that we are out. And we go out as early as 6 o'clock in the morning. We go out as early as 5 o'clock in the morning. I have been on just about every bus route, and those that I haven't been on, I will be riding those along with the staff this year. We are developing a riders council ourselves as part of this organization, who will be working with us on a volunteer basis for those riders that ride in various areas and in different routes, to get their feedback and their recommendations on the upcoming design changes that we're going to be making. So we're not doing anything in terms of transit in a vacuum. We are working with our riders. We encourage our riders to come and give us information. We have some challenges, and in those challenges, we learn what we could do better. And so people often think that public transit is a very easy subject, and I just want to go on record, since this is a public meeting, that it is not. It is not as simple as getting a bus out and riding it down the street. There is a lot of complexity with bus transportation and now a bus rapid system. But we do hear the concerns of our citizens and our riders But to say that you have an executive director who sits in the office is probably not very true. And so I think the staff, and when she said that, I could see each one of them say, you don't know our executive director. And so I just want the board to know that we are very much in the public. We are very much on the transportation system. And we even have a new initiative coming up this year where our executive staff has to get on the bus at least 3 times a month and ride it from home. And so we are engaged. We are a part of this process. We work for the transit authority, so we will ride and be a part of our own product. And so I just wanted to make that clear and then a comment, since this is a public meeting, to ensure the public that we are concerned, that we're not isolated, we're not distant, and this is a passion. And we're here because we care, and not just about certain riders, but all riders. And so now to move on, just to give you a little bit about what we're going to be doing this year. As we speak of customer experience, Trey Foster is going to be moving on to a position for me called the Customer Experience Manager, who will be responsible for receiving all outside concerns and complaints. And we track them when they come through the door, and we will resolve them through a workflow process, and it will not get closed until the issue or the complaint has been resolved. And so he will be in this second quarter moving on to that position as we prepare someone in his organization to cover his position. So you can see that we are thinking about the rider. And so we also have our town hall meetings that I have had in the past year that we'll be continuing this year with our staff and our employees, and especially our bus drivers, our bus operators. One of the things that Gerald has been tasked with this year is to do retraining around customer service with our drivers, because we know that that's important, and we have to keep customer service in front of them at all times. And so we are working on a program that is in his goal number 1 in this season, is to create that program and put a training development program in place. And also, just so you all will know, we are in the process of updating and automating you. And so you will no longer be getting paper for your resolutions and your agendas. We're going to bring you up to the current technology, where we will be upgrading your iPads. We have finally hired a temporary staff augment person who is going to be acting as our IT director. So this is very important that we get your iPads updated, and you will also, as we continue to get the applications on your iPads, be able to see things in real time. So we want stuff at your fingertips where you can see what we're doing and that we are managing this process. And you will be able to look at those updates in real time. Some of the other things that we're doing for this quarter as part of our goals is Glenn and I have worked on a 457 investment account for our employees who were not investing in anything. And that is because they were given a 5% pension. But that pension does not grow. And so what we decided to do was to have a discussion with Nationwide, well, that would be matched with what they put into the into their investment account, and we will match up to that 5%, which is what we already give. But if they give 3%, then that's a 7% increase every year. And so we're hoping to roll that out by the end of the second quarter, which we're in right now. We're also looking at our fare policy. Again, This is a subject matter that a lot of people don't understand. We had a comment on Facebook that said they were disappointed in the BX system because it does not transfer over to the fixed route. Well, it is a bus rapid transit system, which means it works like a train system. And you purchase it separately from the fixed route. So when you go somewhere and purchase a train ticket, you do not have a transfer to a bus. And so because this is rail on wheels, it works the same way. You don't take a transfer ticket from a bus rapid system and transfer it to a fixed route. They are two separate systems and they work separately as far as fare collection. One works for a TBM, one works with a fare collection box, but they're separate systems. But what we have done was integrate the software already. The software has been upgraded. That's what Dorinda was tasked to do when she started with the organization, was to ensure that the systems work together, and they do. They have been upgraded by Avail. We work on the same software, but just so you will know, the fare collection will never be integrated because it is to work separately, right? So when you go to Atlanta and you purchase a train ticket, you don't get a train ticket and a bus ticket. You get one or the other. If you're on the bus, you get the bus. If you're on the train, you get the train. But a bus rapid system works exactly the same way. So I just wanted you all to be knowledgeable of how that works, so that if you hear that, and we're going to send out a press release today explaining. So we're in the process of still educating on the bus rapid system. Stephanie organization is working on her goal for the next quarter is the triennial. We have a very big audit coming up from FTA. This is huge. We're very busy. She's very busy in that area. She and her team with the triennial and the Title VI. You will get a presentation on that during the next committee meeting. So we'll go more of that to you in detail. She's also working on making sure that the apportionments get into trams with our new fiscal year. So she's taking care of that as well, which is another goal. We will be procuring our buses over the next several weeks. We will start procuring some of them under the grant that we just received. We will be starting our capital projects, bus shelter. We're going to start the sidewalk project. We have narrowed down some land, which we will be in contact with you as board members to do a tour to see, so you can see what we have narrowed it down to. And so that will be coming up, and we'll get you the dates on when we can set up a tour for you all to see the two selections that we have. Because that's very important now. We want to work with Councilor O'Quinn to help us get our 8th Avenue property prioritized with the city of Birmingham so we can get the infrastructure, the drainage issue resolved. I did talk to James Fowler, who thought it was a great idea to renovate our current facility as well as build a new facility, because right now we have fleet in one location. So we think that it would be a great idea if the city could prioritize the drainage cleanup of the 8th Avenue so we can renovate that and continue to use it as one of our maintenance facilities. And then of course we're going to be updating this room. She has the new monitors in, so you will see changes to the technology in this room. We have upgraded our 365 Outlook, which has been creating a problem for us. So we upgraded Avail. Avail came in from coming in. We have several projects that we're going to be implementing with them to ensure that operations, maintenance, FleetNet, and all the different departments can get to their information and get to it quickly. And it works now very quickly since we've had the upgrade. And finally, I am doing a total program report that you will have access to on your iPad, but we're going to make it high level so you won't see all the detail and get bogged down in the detail, but the goal is to keep you updated and communicate with you all much regularly, and to ensure that you get the information, because we're moving so fast. We want to make sure that you're kept up to speed and you're kept in the loop on just how much progress we're making. And so I do want to refer to a program that we're working on with Gerald and Stan in operations. We put a task force together, and it's called No Rider Left Behind. But we have to flush that out, which means we won't be able to roll that program out completely until we get our micro transit up and going. So that micro transit, you will see a pilot of that in this Q2 as well, for one route in particular that we're thinking about. We have 2 vans, so you will see that starting this quarter or very early in Q3, which shows progress, and it shows that we are concerned about our missed routes or our missed trips, not missed routes. We're making our routes. But because of the workforce shortage and people are out sick and they're out on vacation, that even increases the shortage from our operators, because they too have vacation time, and you know we're in flu season and we're going into the winter season, which means some of our operators will more than likely call in sick as well. And so that will continue to add to the shortage that already exists throughout the day for our daily routes. But to help mitigate that, we are of course bringing on VIA, which has already started. The nighttime services are great. They are off the roof. We didn't expect it to take off so quickly, and it has. And so we will be changing routes that you'll hear about more in the committee meetings coming up with Watanji, myself, and operations, where we're discussing changing some of these routes where we have those zones operated by VIA or our microtransit. And so I think in the next several committee meetings, you will start to see the various modes of transportation that we are phasing into with our BRT and our fixed route. And then also our BRT, we have at least, I think, 4 to 5 connection changes that we're making, where some of those buses no longer have to come down to Central Station. So it's a process and it's a phase that takes some time. You know, and I understand our riders, and I really hate to hear somebody may not have been able to get to work and it's due to our bus services. But we do advertise on our website and through other forms of communication that if you have a problem and you're on a bus stop, to call customer service. And Trey has put together a program where we, and Stan, where a supervisor will pick the person up from the route to get them to where they need to be. So we are well aware of some of the missed trips, and we're working on that, and we are ensuring as much as we possibly can. Now, we won't pick folk up from their homes, but if they're at a bus stop and they call that customer service number, customer service has a script to know that they can get help, and that information gets passed down to operations, and we send supervisors over to pick up our riders. So as you can see, we have mitigations where we're covering some of the areas that we know that have challenges. And then of course, the last thing is our strategic plan. We are operating in that now, so we're gonna make sure that we finalize the plan this quarter. So you will have that on your iPads with our KPIs that you will be able to see in real time, month to month, those KPIs that will be updated to show the measurement of our success, and not just the measurement of our success, but even our challenges. Because I tell the staff, it's not about everything we're doing right. It's about making sure that people know what we're doing wrong, but we're working toward correcting those issues and those challenges and those problems. And so it's, I just wanted to, in this report, take a little bit more time, which I've done, just to explain some of the things and goals. And so you will get a goal sheet each quarter as well as annual goals that we are going to make sure that you have to show what progress that we're making toward those goals every quarter. Because we can't do everything all at one time. We have to project this out or schedule this out. With me having a project background, project management and program management background, I don't do well unless I know where I'm going and how I'm going to get there and what my duration is going to be, what my start date is and what my end date. And so if anything works outside of that, then that shows us where we may have problems and what we need to do differently. And so I just want to assure you all that we are looking at expanding modes of transportation. We are continually making efficiencies within the organization. We have the rider in mind with our new Riders Council, and we are moving people in positions that they have shown themselves and demonstrated that they're good at, and that we can use them like Trey to utilize him in customer experience. We moved Ronnie over to procurement as a procurement manager. He's doing an excellent job. And so now we have people and employees in positions who are getting things done. And that's not to say they weren't in positions getting things done, but because of the new infrastructure and us concentrating on training and getting people trained in transit and in their different departmental industries has helped increase our efficiencies. And so with that, I will call Mr. Perkins, who wanted to say a few things on the tail end of my report.
Thank you, Director. I'll be brief. Director Davis, you will recognize this next phrase. I'm gonna say three things, I'm gonna say that. That comes from my old pastor, Nelson Smith Jr. I heard Miss Bradford, and like everybody else, it hurt, and I got it. And so when she walked outside, I wanted to walk out with her, which I did. But I didn't want her to walk out thinking we didn't hear her, because we did. So here are my three things. She raised, I think, three issues. A real concern, a real issue, and then some assumptions. I think our chairman really, the broad concerns, I think, Chairman, you did a good job of addressing her broad concerns. Then comes her real issue. She missed that bus, apparently twice. I think knowing Trey Foster, going outside with her, is she still here? There you go. Is Trey addressing your concerns?
He did.
So I knew that would happen. But then there were some assumptions. And that was that if you're at one level and somebody says at this level, we don't hear you. And that's a concern all over, but it can't happen in this building, but it does not happen in this building. If you hear somebody, Bill Clinton said this on a trip to Ghana, which I won't go into, but yes, I do. He was talking to people and they were saying the same, and he didn't know what it meant. And so he asked for a while, well, what are these folks saying? Well, this was actually, I said Ghana, actually Rwanda. It was actually genocide. And the people told Bill Clinton, what they're really saying is, I hear you. And what that means is, if you hear a person, it really means I understand you and I get what you're saying. Not just I empathize with you, I get it. So, Ms. Bradford, we hear you. Not just your words, but your intent. And we're addressing those. So you don't walk in this building and say that, and we just blow it over. We are not. So you heard from the director, who is out there all the time. She takes her boots off and goes out there and does the walking. You heard from Trey Foster, and you heard from our chairman and others. But now, we get you, we hear you. Thank you.
Is there any questions for the director?
I'd like to make a comment. I know, as being part of the transportation program, you have to want to do this. It has to be in your heart to want to do it. You have purpose. And by being a part of this board for the past few months, this staff has shown me that they really care about what they do. There's some people that have been here for a few months. There's some people that have been here a very long time. And I know that it takes a long time to fix a problem that's been broken for a long time. And I know it takes a while to put the staff together. But I know that transportation is a part of humanity. It's a part of having access to grocery stores, access to jobs, access to medical appointments. So I just want to reiterate that I know how hard everyone in here is trying to accomplish that goal of bringing transportation up to the same caliber as our food, our lifestyle, our dwellings, everything. I do understand that. And also, coming from a transportation background, I empathize with the riders. Missed job opportunities, missed appointments, missed trips to dialysis, trips to just go and live your daily life. But I want to commend the staff. I've seen how hard you've worked this year. I've seen you start to move people around within the organization, promoting from within, and I just can't wait to see what comes in 23. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more comments for the director? I want to make one comment. Our micro transit service is going to be a call-in service, right?
Yes,
Okay. And right now, we're going to have 2 vans,
go
right?
ahead, 2 vans.
How many more do you think we need?
We have a plan for that, and so I'd rather show you the plan in totality than to give you that number, if you don't mind. We're gonna need more, we're gonna need more.
Any needs for staff to come up and say anything?
I did want Director Page to come up and talk about the Gallup survey. We did a employee survey, which is important as well, so we know there are things we could do better. And so we like to hear not only from our riders and our external customers, but we like to know what's going on in the company and what we can do better at changing things or developing our employees more. And so we had the Gallup survey done within the company, and she can give a little summary of that.
Thank you, Director Shaw. Can everybody hear me? All right. So the Gallup survey was an employee engagement survey. So we're gauging how employees feel about their environment, their connection to the company, connection to other employees. So the survey went from November the 14th to November the 28th. We didn't have the participation that we wanted. So we extended it again in December for another week at the beginning of December. We got 43% participation. I wish it was higher, but I can assure you that we had a good cross-section of administrative and operator employees. So there were 12 questions on the survey. And I'm going to hit the highlights and the lowlights, so to speak. The area where we seem to be doing the best is that employees know what is expected of them, and they feel like they have the opportunity to do their best every day at work. So that was a good sign. Where we need to have a little improvement is they complained a little bit. They didn't have the equipment necessarily all the time to do their jobs to their best ability. And they also kind of ranked us low on recognition of their work. So with equipment, you can't always make an immediate fix, but the good thing about Gallup is they do make suggestions about how to talk to your employees about issues, and obviously want to address the concerns about equipment and concerns about recognition. So we're going to be working through some of those suggestions. All of the chiefs have been provided a copy of the results from their particular areas, and then many of the folks here in operations had large enough groups so that people in the manager or director level got copies of their survey also. We were not giving, of course, any individual responses. We gave kind of group responses, because it was a confidential survey. But we'll be working to implement some things to address those concerns. Is there anything else you want me to say?
Thank you.
And I do want to introduce, and he can just wave his hand, who is going to be our acting IT director is Herb Walker. Herb, can you stand up and wave your hand? I can see you all. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
So he has a very extensive background, and he's been working with Dorinda today. She's doing a handoff so that we have someone just dedicated to ensuring our IT department is brought up to speed. And then what we'll do is in one of the committee meetings, we'll probably go into a closed session to talk about some sensitive areas.
No other departments? Everything's good? We have no resolutions to approve. Any old business? Any new business? We'd like to thank everybody for coming out. We would like to adjourn the meeting.